Okay. Okay, I can see that we are live. So thank you so much, guys, for waiting on me. So finally, we are done with both the attempts of SET. Okay, so here I am with the SET slot 2 analysis. Okay, so this is the first impression that I had, right, after taking the SET slot 2. So I will be sharing about the exam pattern, right? The test structure, topic-wise breakdown for each and every section, and what should be the expected cutoff for this particular section. Okay, so let's quickly move on to the test structure. So no major changes from what we saw in the first slot. So we had 16 questions each in general English, quantitative ability, general awareness, and there were 12 questions in analytical and logical reasoning. Total, we had 60 questions, which we needed to attempt in like 60 minutes. 1 marks awarded for every correct answer. One thing to notice there that there was no negative marking. So not attempting any question would be like committing a crime. Okay, means you can do some guesswork and can attempt anything. There was no sectional time limit. You could easily navigate to any section, to any question within the section. Okay, and there was no calculator. Now looking at the VA, verbal ability, so there was a slight change, slight difference that I particularly noticed in the VA section than the slot 1. But again, there were couple of similarities. Like in this slot also we had one poem, right? One RC, one poem based question. Then antonyms questions were there. There were 2 questions on antonyms. There were 2 idioms which we saw in slot 1 as well. Okay. Then there were spot the error questions, fill in the blanks, questions on tenses and articles, compound words, and there were 3 questions on proverbs. Okay, so overall I feel that this section was not that difficult, could have easily managed, right? So personally I feel that overall difficulty, it was easy. Genuine attempts could range from, I would say, 13 to 15 in an ideal time frame of 9 to 10 minutes, right? And a good score, I feel, will be around 12 plus. Okay, I can see a lot of students have questions, so I will address all the issues towards the end of the analysis. Okay, for now let's just look at the sectional difficulty and everything. Now coming to the QA section. So now, personally, in QA section, I could see that there were a couple of speed breaker questions in the start. Okay, which students could have avoided and could have focused on the easier questions first. So I actually got a chance to speak to a lot of students who took slot 1 as well as slot 2. So overall impression about slot 2 was that it was a little trickier, a little difficult than slot 1, when I'm talking about the QA specifically, right? Students who actually attempted both the slots, they found slot 1 slightly easier than slot 2. Okay, which I feel could be the case after looking at the questions that I saw in slot 2. Okay, so we had 3 questions on percentages and profit loss. Right, there were 2 questions on percentages to be precise, 1 question on profit loss, right, and 1 question on percentages based out in DI. Okay, there were easy questions on equations, allegations, and ratios. 1 question each from these 3 topics. There was 1 question on time and work, 1 question on time split distance, which were based on the similar concept, right? If you have practiced IMS mocks, I don't think you would have had any trouble in solving these questions, right? Like slot 1, there was 1 question on HCF and LCM, right? 1 very easy question on coordinate geometry, again 1 very easy question on logarithm, right? Probability and PNC, there were some variety of questions that I was a little surprised to see in an exam like SET, but not something a good student cannot manage. One very easy question on arithmetic progression was given, right? So overall, I feel that this was again of moderate difficulty, I would say, considering that we have only 60 minutes, right, in our hand. I would not classify it as directly easy, right? But again, it was not a difficult, section which a student cannot attempt, right? So again, overall, I would classify this as easy or a slightly, a moderate section, right? So genuine attempts would be around again 13 to 50. If a student is good, right, could have easily attempted like 13 to 15 questions, leaving the speed breaker questions, right, in an ideal time frame of I guess 20 to 25 minutes. Again, the questions were not that difficult, so you can expect accuracy of 90% and more in such section, right? So again, the good score would be around 12 plus. Now coming to the logical reasoning section. So again, overall this section, it was a little lengthy, I would say. Yeah, we had a lot of variety of questions, right, which we actually didn't see in your slot 1. Okay, so there were 2 questions on series, right? One on number series and one on letter series, right? There was one very easy question on coding decoding, right? One question on blood relations, right? One on clocks and one on calendars, right? Each being of, I would say, a moderate to easy difficulty. One question each on circular and linear arrangement, right? So it again becomes very, difficult to manage time when you are having questions like circular arrangement and linear arrangement. Not possible to do it, attempt it in, a time frame of, 1 minute, 2 minutes. So, and actually I would like to, pinpoint one specific thing about the question that they had asked, right? Especially the circular arrangement. They used, same names multiple times, right? Meaning, there was someone named Anita, right? And then there was another person who is named Anita, but their last name was different, right? So I talked to a lot of students and they told me that, to comprehend that thing, it took them, some 1 minute ka time, right? To think around the question. Okay. And again, verbal reasoning questions were found, right? So there was one question on statement, argument, assumption, causes and effect, course of actions, right? So overall, if I look at this section, it was again not so difficult, right? So again, easy, the slot, I would say, easy section, I would say, right? So genuine attempts would be 10 to 12. A student who has done good preparation could have attempted all questions also in an ideal time frame of, I guess, 15 to 20 minutes. Good score, I'm assuming that the because of 3 to 4 questions on critical reasoning, so accuracy can come down a little bit, right? So for that reason, I feel a score of 9 or more than 9 would be good shot, right? Now coming to the GK. So I feel that, compared to the last slot, GK was slightly easier, right? Many easy questions were found. There were questions on Vande Bharat, then questions on GDP, right? So yes, there were some out of the box questions which students didn't know, but again, there were questions, spaces of, questions which could be easily answered. Okay, so overall, I feel that this was of moderate difficulty, right? So again, genuine attempts will be around 8 to 10, and should not take more time than than reading a question, right? So a good score of 7 or more than 7, I think, would do the trick for the for a good student. Okay, so overall, I feel that the overall difficulty was easy, right? So genuine attempts, anything more than 50 out of 60 is good. But I feel that, for slot 1, the predicted score was around 43 plus. But I feel, considering the QA section that we have, right, in slot 2, I feel that a score of 40 plus should be the ideal cutoff, for this. Not cutoff, I would say a good score of 40 will be very good. Okay. So now coming towards the end, so these are the expected cutoffs. So for BBA, 35, BSc Economics 34, and for the other programs, I've not changed anything. I've kept as it is. Like we had for slot 1, because everyone will score some bare minimum marks irrespective of the difficulty of the test. So I don't think the other numbers are going to change. Yeah, should change. Significantly. Okay. But yes, overall impression, if I try to compare both the slots, this slot was a little trickier, from the students who have attempted, both the slots. Okay. So now for the next stage, right? So we'll be having a PI. So 70% weightage will be on your aptitude, 30% weightage will be given to your PI, right? That's it from my end about the SET slot 2 analysis. Right. So now I will take a few questions that I can see on the live chat, right, before winding up the session. Okay, I can't see any questions. Just a second. Yeah. Pranav is telling SET 1 was way easier. Yes, Pranav, totally agree. Totally agree. No doubt about it. Like I told that I spoke to a lot of students who attempted both the slots. So yes, this slot was a slightly tougher one. Hitansh is saying I get 42 plus. Will I get SCMS Pune? Yes, very high chances, Hitansh, that how others are also scoring. But 42 plus is a very decent score. So I don't think you should have any trouble, making it to SCMS Pune. Okay. Let's work on the PI. Okay. Sir, QA was easy but lengthy. Yes, agreed, Rohit. No doubt about it. Okay, I can see the angle of 18 and 4. I guess 60 was the correct answer for that. Okay, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so I guess for if you have any doubt, if you have any queries, you can post it on the chat box, right? Our team will get in touch with you people, right? And stay tuned for more updates about SET and all the other exams, right? If you're having any doubts, please reach out to us, right, about anything and everything. Okay, so that's it from my end for now. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for watching this, right? And if you are having any doubts, please check out our website. Thank you.